Progress.
Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the meeting with the IG Express virtual session on the October 5, 2024. Given the brief background of this session is that we are just a group of female ICANN fellow. Sorry. And we trying to educate, build the capacity, and also encourage the young people to keep getting involved in this session in the internet governance community. And we also have done the previous session sharing about our fellowship session, fellowship journey. This is our second virtual session. Well, we invited the internet governance experts such as Maureen, Shreedeep, and Amrita to get the inspiration from their journey and also to learn something from them, of course. So let me go to the agenda. So I will briefly introduce about the agenda here. We will have a presentation from the speaker for about 30 minutes, and then we will follow us with a Q&A session. And if you have any question, please keep and write it down on your note before moving to the Q&A session. If not, you might probably forget that, right? So please keep and take a note for if you have any question, and we will open the floor for the Q&A after the speaker sharing session. Then we will end this session by inviting the speaker to give like the closing remark for about 1 minute. So my colleagues, Sarai and Barkha, are joining this call, and Sarai will also co-facilitating this session. So let me pass the floor to the Sarai. Sarai, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyo. Talofa, good evening, good morning from where you are, good afternoon. I would like to start with this session with a brief introduction of introduction of our IG experts, as Phyo mentioned, and we have Maureen Hilyard. She will be our first speaker. As the internet continues to transform our lives, the way we communicate, the way we do business and engage in civic life, the need of this effective governance becomes paramount. And we are fortunate to have our three speakers tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon, to share their journey. Because we managed to talk with them before, but it was not enough time. But this will be a good time for us to hear their stories on their journey in this internet governance space. So without further ado, our first speaker is Maureen Hilyard. She is the current chair of the Internet Society Board Trustee and one of our Pacific Islands champions in this internet governance space, participating and contributing to the development and advocating of internet governance to the Asia Pacific. And she has done a lot to the Asia Pacific, especially in the Pacific space regarding internet governance. I'll give the floor to her to briefly share her journey in the ICANN world. And also, I think I met with Maureen first in Samoa in 2006 when we have the PICISOC, and that's where we invited Windsurf to Samoa to come, and that was the time that our Pacific people leading into this internet governance. I was fortunate to have the opportunity. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Maureen to share your journey in the IG or internet governance ICANN world, and how do you balance your internet governance activities with your professional career, and particular in terms of career opportunities. We have some young participants in this forum. They will love to learn from it. And the last one, what would be your guiding advice for the future of ICANN space? Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Sarai. Welcome everyone. I'm remembering that I'm a whole lot older than you guys, and so my journey is actually sort of like over a longer period of time. But what I've actually got here is on this slide is to show you how much ICANN and ISOC have actually sort of like been inter-exchanged in my work in the IG world, and they're things that have happened in the Internet Society world has actually impacted with ICANN or vice versa. But what I wanted first of all to sort of like start with was that before I actually came to the Cook Islands in 2004, I actually worked as a regional advisor with the New Zealand Correspondence School in Wellington, in New Zealand, which is New Zealand's national distance learning school. It has about 28,000 students. It's a biggie. My job was to visit students who are being homeschooled for a variety of reasons, to introduce them and their families to the internet and distance learning. So when I came to the Cook Islands, I was actually doing the same sort of thing. I arrived in the Cook Islands in 2004, and my role was to work with secondary students in the outer islands who didn't have specialist subject teachers. So they got their work from the New Zealand Correspondence School. So that's how I got the job, because I was the only Cook Islander working for the Correspondence School at the time. But the first problem I encountered was that these students not only didn't have teachers, but they didn't have internet on their islands either. So that one of the first tasks that I had for the Ministry of Education, which is where I was working, was to follow the Cook Islands telecom team while they installed the internet on each of the 11 outer islands in the Cook Islands. And then my role was to train the local primary school teachers and their secondary school students about how to use the internet, and so they could communicate with their teachers in the correspondence school in Wellington, New Zealand. So for many years, both before and after I came to the Cook Islands, was very much to do with internet governance, even though I didn't even know that at the time, because I didn't even know what internet governance was. But meeting the needs, the user needs of these outer island students in particular, meeting their user needs of connectivity and accessibility. And after I joined PICISOC, I became very much more aware of these needs as basic to the islands of the Pacific. So that for many years of my early involvement with the Pacific Islands chapter, I raised concerns that affected the whole of the Pacific in any forum I could engage with to bring this to the attention of people and organizations who could assist. But after working with the Ministry of Education for 4 years, I then took up a project management job with Paul Hunter at the ICT unit, which was based with the Office of the Prime Minister, and it still is. And this new role that I had was to do with e-government. And Paul worked with the technical side, and I did the governance aspects of the project. This expanded my knowledge and understanding of internet governance with regards to all the digital concerns of government in relation to education, health, agriculture, everything that the government was involved in. So I started with Pua in 2008. And in 2009, she attended her first ICANN fellowship and came back all excited. But when she was telling me about it, it sounded too technical for my brain. So it wasn't until the end of 2010 that she finally persuaded me to apply. And I was accepted for a fellowship in Cartagena. And with me were 2 other fellows from Papua New Guinea who I still maintain contact with. And it's so neat. The people that you meet on these fellowships, it's just brilliant. But being involved in this fellowship in 2010, and then I went back. My second one wasn't until 2012, but in 2013, that is when I started my engagement with the at-large. And well, actually, no, my engagement started in 2010 with at-large, but of course, I got onto the ALAC in 2013. And also was the ALAC liaison to the CCNSO. So I got myself 2 jobs. And at the same time, Pua was becoming very engaged with the GAC. So, it was really good to actually have a colleague who was also very, who had actually joined with ICANN as well. But as you can see in this slide that I've got, throughout this time, even though I sort of there was a continuum with ICANN and the work that I was doing with ICANN, I've continued to work with both organisations. The Internet Society has always been sort of an underpinning sort of organisation for me, because that's where I started, and that's where the internet governance sort of development happened, and I've continued to do that. Continue to advocate for the internet needs of small island states in particular. In the Pacific initially, but in whatever forum I could get to. But this is now extended to the needs of SIDS, small island developing states globally, mainly through the support and encouragement of interestingly enough, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, the CTU, because mainly through SIDS, of course, and my working with the Caribbean group with Tracy Hackshaw, and I co-founded the DC SIDS organisation. But the CTU has been really helpful, and this has probably been because Rodney Taylor, who's the Secretary General of CTU, was also a former chair of the Barbados ISOC chapter. So he already has a strong connection with internet governance, and it comes through in the amazing support that CTU gives to SIDS communities in the Caribbean. But we in the Pacific have also been given a lot of support over the years, not only from the Internet Society, but from ICANN's technical communities, such as APrIGF, ICANN's GSE, and especially CCNSO's ALDA from Australia, and Internet New Zealand, whose support in the Pacific PAC-INETs in the past, and now the PICISOC has been amazing. But going forward, I aim to continue to encourage Pacific participation in the IG-related activities in both ISOC and ICANN, because I think that they're really, they can really be inter-engaging. Moving on to my second slide, where it's looking at, how trying to balance IG activities with my professional career, for example. One of the things that I actually have noted on the slide, which you can't see yet, is that mainly to do with when I was the LAC chair, and the what you need to know if you're ever going to aspire to actually be the chair of an organisation, one of the heads of one of the organisations within ICANN. Phyo, can you just change that to the next slide, please? So as the LAC chair, you have an obligation to be interested in whatever is going on within the at-large community. So on the left-hand side shows all the groups, the meetings and stuff that I was obliged to attend as the LAC chair. I didn't have to, I didn't want to, but I mean, you actually are obliged to, as they've appointed you into that position. So to put it in a nutshell then, how did I balance my working life with ICANN? I didn't have much of a life outside of ICANN during that time. I can be absolutely honest, straight up about that. And it started each week. Every Monday at 7 a.m., I had a staff meeting to coordinate my life with ICANN for the week. My only saving grace with regards to keeping what job I might have had during that period was that most of the ICANN meetings were in the middle of the night for me, when everyone else in the world was awake. So all I had to do was stay awake during my workday activities, and in order to make some kind of income, get some sort of income for myself. However, during my term as the chair, I had 1 year that was a normal year with the 3 meetings. And then we were hit by COVID. And for the next 2.5 years, although local employment for volunteers was limited, the continued high expectation of the workload for at large was still as demanding. And as COVID dragged on, there was a very telling decline in the number of participants in the online policy and operations working group meetings that we were holding within at large. And the pandemic put a higher demand on our community, especially of those who were able to afford the time and personal expense that ICANN demands of volunteers to give to this extra responsibility in their lives. And I was really lucky that my needs were pretty basic, so that I was able to cope through this setback. But I'm aware that it was difficult for a lot of others for whom participation in ICANN meant a cost, for many who could not afford to be away from work when they could get it, or their own family responsibilities. And on several occasions when the LAC tried to put forward to the board for some consideration to be given to those who remained to work with us during this trying time, but nothing was forthcoming. So we lost a lot of working group members during that time. Once the pandemic was over, of course, things picked up again during the last 6 months of my chairmanship, but it certainly wasn't in a rush. So how did I cope during that time? I really appreciated Heidi and her staff and the people I worked closely with during this time who motivated me to continue through what was a real harrowing time in the lives of everyone on the planet. But as volunteers within ICANN, we did what we had to do so that we could help to make a difference. And it's hard, and it was hard. And I'm warning you, don't have any expectations of reward or recompense from ICANN, because there won't be any. But as you will see in the purple bits that I've got on the slide, since vacating the chair for 2023, which was my last year on the LAC, and 2024 this year, where I was with the NomCom, I've gradually been able to take back some of my own life and do things in other areas, so that when all is said and done, you are responsible for making things work for you, and you just do what you can do. The last slide, Phyo. So apart from what I've got here, I don't know if you can sort of like see it very well, but the only advice that I can give to you if you want to identify, if you want to sort of like do, progress within the ICANN world, is to identify someone that you know who can help and support you, someone that you can ask questions to, because in order for you to become more familiar with ICANN's work, there's so much to learn in order to truly become involved. And this is where the Ralo, I think I'm so proud of APrIGF that they've got the Ralo policy forum. That's really important. If you want to learn about ICANN, you can ask questions and get involved at that level, and just learn as much as you can from your own readings or from people around you. Just remember that it is at your own cost, and the only benefit you'll actually get out of it is hopefully making a difference for other end users and your own satisfaction in wanting to make a difference in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen, for that marvelous and comprehensive feedback for the questions that have been posted to all our speakers. Very much appreciated your insights, and I hope that the participants here learned. And the keyword I just put it there in the chat: ICANN demands, and you guys made it. I think it was last year was my first time as ICANN fellow in Hamburg, and I've seen it, and I've seen that you guys, Amrita, Shreedeep, you have that passion to be part of the group, and that is my learning curve as well. So, and I hope that we can continue that journey. Thank you very much, Maureen, for sharing that. Our second speaker is Shreedeep. Thank you very much for joining. He is a social activist, blogger, and internet governance advocate. He is the founder of the Learn Internet Governance and Readiness.com, Learn IG is a collaborative youth initiative, whereas Ray News is an online news portal and blog and has been instrumental in raising awareness about internet governance issues in the Asia-Pacific region and globally. So without further ado, I give the floor to Shreedeep as the 3 questions I also posted to Maureen this evening or this afternoon. So to share your story, your journey in this internet governance and how you balance your life with professional careers with the internet governance and your advice being part of this ICANN world. Thank you, Shreedeep. Over to you.
Thank you, Sarai, and thank you, Maureen, for building up the whole, session with the whole, thing about fashion. So my name is Shreedeep Rayamajhi, and I started my career with, internet governance back in 2005 or 6, I think. I started my career very early as a journalist here in Nepal. It was back in 2000, so I was just 18 or 19 then, and I started my career. And I always had this passion about, working with the community, trying to do some work, trying to document stuff. So these things were like inbuilt in my values from my working experience. And then one day, out of the blues, I searched Internet Society in a search engine, and Internet Society was there. I became a member because it was open, and then the journey started. And in 2006, December or some month, we were called upon. We had a meeting here, and we kind of like started a group in Nepal. There was previously a group in Nepal here which was trying to establish, but they had certain issue with some grant. So we stepped in. We kind of like started the process, and in 2009 we formally registered ISOC Nepal chapter. So I was one of the founding members of ISOC Nepal chapter. Before to that, I had no knowledge about what internet governance is or how internet was running. I mean to say, I had an idea. I was a very avid internet user, but not the point about internet governance. And the fascinating thing when I started was, it was like the journey started, when we grouped in, and the meeting where the journey started, when they were planning to form a group. I was a young man. I mean to say, like a boy in 20s, 18, 19, and 20s. And they kind of like asked everyone. They called a meeting to form a new ISOC group to fast forward the process. And there were like a lot of reputed names that came up. And I was kind of like a very first person to raise my hand when I heard that there is community engagement, there is things like this. And I was the first one to raise my hand, and I was ignored. They took all the big shots name, and my name was, they asked me to put my name down. But there was a guy who said, no, this guy has to be there. Young people have to be there. And he took his hand down, or he put my name instead of his. It was a big name. And from then this journey started. So my passion has always been about, to voice out, to work, to be there and to work. So then the journey started. And after that, I was there with the ISOC till 2013, and I stepped out. And till 2013, I had the knowledge about the fellowships, ICANN, ambassador programs. And a lot of the people within the community were going in. I mean, this is the EC members were going in. They were not informing others. There was no information. Like today's, it was not like this open. The application would open, you would apply, and you'd go. And then, try it. Then I put an application in the ISOC ambassador program for 2013. There was a traveling opportunity with the ISOC regional meeting, right, which was happening in Bali. So I had filled the half application, and there was a manager from ISOC, Anna Lord. So she had seen my application, and since a lot of the people from the ISOC community, same people were repeating, they wanted new people to join in. So she asked me to fill the form. And then I submitted the full form, and there was a lot of chaos in the ISOC, the executive committee saying, okay, they selected the people, this and that, but the ISOC said, we want new people, we want young people, we want fresh people, we don't want to repeat the people who have gone to the meeting. So I went in, and that was my last year. And I went to the IGF then, and then, and then what happened was there I got to meet Maureen, I got to meet Cheryl, I got to meet a lot of the people in the community. And when I met them, I kind of like felt it was my community. And then I filled the application for ISOC ambassador for 2014, and I got the ambassador program. I was already out of ISOC, but I was engaging. And this is the way I started my engagement with ISOC. We were working here as a chapter, but very little information would come out to leaders. Though I was a chapter leader, still the informations were not that clear. It was just like the top head leaders would go talk, attend the meetings. The rest of us would not be informed. And and this was the situation. And then when I joined in, I always had this thing about transparency, accountability, and reaching out, giving back information. And when I started engaging, things came up to me. I knew the challenges, I knew the problems, I knew the things. So I was like getting engaged. And then with the ICANN fellowship, I was applying for the ICANN fellowship since 2008 or 9. A lot of people were going in, and I had no idea. And a few of the people from Nepal were going. So I was like, I always had this thing about why am I not being selected. So I reached out to one of the person. I forgot her name there, and she connected me with one of the managers of the ICANN fellowship. And then, I got to know how to fill the application, and the manager, fellowship manager, told me about, ICANN looks into its periphery. You cannot just be working in the IG world and get the fellowship. You have to work within the ICANN remit. So then I understood the whole aspect of what ICANN fellowship is all about. And, I started engaging. And then the next thing is by 2015, I was like, trying to get engaged with the fellowship. And then, by 2016, I got my first fellowship in 2016. I understood the whole process. I got my organization registered as a ALS. And, 2016 was the year when we had the General Assembly of APrIGF in Saudi Arab. And my fellowship, my first fellowship was like turned, I mean to say, there's different ways. So I represented myself as a GA representative from Rayamajhi, and I went there. And, this was the type of engagement. And when I came back, I understood the issue about what youth wanted, what youth are all about. So I've been working in that capacity. I've been engaged with the APrIGF. A lot of you know me as a mentor from APrIGF and APrIGF and ICANN. And the thing is, especially with the youth, the problem that I see is we complain. A lot of the times we complain that, we don't, the older people, they don't give us opportunity. But that is wrong. That is too wrong. There's two ways to work. First way, you work with them. Second way, you create your own niche. That is where we have to bridge the gap. And this is the problem. Still today, I see, they complain. Don't complain, my dear. Either you go to the groups, work, or either you go and, do these kind of engagements. Letitia, Barkha, Phyo, sorry if I've mentioned any other name. Do your engagements, do the magic, and start your own niche. This is the way to do it. And that's what I teach when I go out to the fellows. I've been a mentor for my second term.Y day we sit in the morning meetings. A lot of them complain that, why, other mentors are not doing it. Why are we doing the meetings? But I say, come to the meeting. At least in the morning, we will have fresh ideas. We will share. Because when you talk about ICANN, from the outside world, we see ICANN as a technical community, and there is more of a rigidity.
I think there is a disruption on the
I don't see you guys as my competition. You guys are part of my legacy. I'm so proud of my fellows who have gone into leadership positions, because I'm creating my legacy, that these people were part of my mentorship program, and now they are leading the ICANN at large group. And, even Letitia, even Barkha, even other people in Africa, and I've been I've been to Ghana SIG, I've been a mentor for digital grassroots, I've been everywhere. Recently with our organization Learn IT, we kind of like worked with a few of the people in Bhutan, Nigeria. So, they are trying to establish Bhutan, Nigeria. So I provided with them with the knowledge. Last year, I facilitated Aisha Adnan with all the documents that we have produced. So it is the way of facilitating. It is the way of producing. Yes, it is a community engagement. Yes, it is voluntary. But there is so much to learn. You can grow career-wise. You get great leadership training. You get great knowledge. Don't think about just the money perspective. Ultimately you grow. It is an international community. Work on your engagement. Work on documenting your engagement. That's how you create the best out of the work. Because if you are passionate, if you are true, I tell this to all my fellows, whoever is under me or whoever have gone out, that this is not a travel event. You come, you learn, you go back, and you share that. Create the opportunity, because sharing means opportunity is created, and document it. When you document it, you create that opportunity. And what that does is that money that has been invested in you, assures that money has been used in the community. Some people will get motivated. Some people will engage. So that is the way to do it. That is the way to motivate people. And that is what we youth are. We need the experience of the people who are there. But we have to understand this, that youth are there for action. So we have to understand them and work. And since it's a multi-stakeholder community, we have to work together. And a lot of the youth, the youth is the whole perspective of the youth is they want change like this, like this, like this. But change doesn't happen like this. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes passion. Only then things change. It's very hard, as I said earlier, that it takes time to understand issues. And you would not believe that before being a fellow, I was made a coach. And I still have one fellowship saved. I mean to say, I still have one. You generally get 3 fellowships, and I have one saved. Still, I can apply for one. So you have to understand the whole. You have to do the study. You have to work. I say be a smart, smart person. Be passionate. Be loyal. Then you can see network. You can coordinate. And then you can create opportunity for you, your community, as well as your, your personal thing as well. Because these experiences matter. And there is opportunity as well. There is opportunity for you. I need to say internet governance is a booming topic, right? So there is opportunity for you to learn, understand, work. There's a good payoff if you are fortunate enough. So it's all upon you. It's all upon the idea of you not complaining, but start engaging. Once you start to engage, everybody sees you. And the most important thing about today's world is it is very easy today. It is not like the previous back. As I told you, there was no information how to apply. There were not people like us, there were very limited people who you had to reach. And today, last year we did a program with Amina. She was not even my fellow. We met in the ICANN fellowship program. We did 2 or 3 programs, two outreach, one in Africa and then again somewhere. And it is open with the technology available, social media, and you could get the fellowship. The most important thing is engagement. How do you engage? It's like, so a lot of the times you have to be told. And that's where people like us come in. We share our experience. We tell you to do things. And when you do that in the right way, you are sorted. And it is very important to be loyal. It is very important to be passionate as well. Because if you believe that you're just coming here to have fun, having fun is part of it. But understand this, that, this is the opportunity of a lifetime when you come to apply for fellowship. So always apply from that point of view where the people who are judging will also accept you. So that is very important. And as I said, you meet great people, you understand the whole global issue. And I'm a lot of the people ask me that, say that, okay, you have tried to get into leadership and you don't get into leadership and still you are hanging on. And I say, I've created my legacy. All these people, young people, good people, they're like, they are part of me. I'm not afraid of them. They are part of me. They do things. And, it is like so overwhelming for me at times that I feel so proud that, all these fellows are coming. They're doing so beautiful work. And we met them. We meet them, we work with them. And I think this is the way how we should be. The community is, as a whole, we have to work with the community, with the Asian community, because the next billion is coming from Asia and Africa. So the whole issue is be passionate, be loyal, do the things, do the capacity building. 5 people, do the outreach. That's what I say to all my fellows. Go. If you need me, I'm there. 24/7, anytime you call me, whether it's night, whether it's morning, I'm going to come for the outreach. Create your own, create your own thing. Create your own engagement. Document it. Be smart. And you will be there. And, the opportunity is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shreedeep, for that interesting and energetic insights and also advice for our participants. I really appreciate it and so proud that as we met there at Hamburg and I saw you mentoring the fellows that we've been allocated to you. So thank you for that. And I'm so fortunate to meet you there at Hamburg as well. Our last speaker for tonight or this afternoon is Madam Amrita Choudhury. Fortunate to meet her as well in person. Currently, she's the director of CCAOI, an organization representing the interests of internet users and non-users in India. She's an active participant in tech policy discussions, both at domestic and international platforms, involving capacity building, outreach, and research in internet governance. Also, the president of Internet Society Delhi chapter, chair of our APrIGF, Asia Pacific Internet Governance Forum, chair of APrIGF, heads of the Asia Pacific Women's Special Internet Group and Internet Society, and is a nominating committee to the 2021 member at ICANN. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Amrita on board to share her insights and her experience as well in her journey in this internet governance space, as well as balancing her professional career with participating in the internet governance space, and also an advice to our fellow participants here. Over to you, Amrita. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarai, and thank you for having me here, all of you. A few clarifications. I'm not an expert. I just try to do my job too. Some of the things which were mentioned in my resume is a bit outdated, but it's me who is to be blamed because I didn't update it, because I was a bit caught with the India School on Internet Governance. But thank you for having me here. And it's good to see quite a few known faces as well as new faces. And after 2 great speakers, I don't have much to add, but I'll just try to pick some thoughts. I didn't put it very randomly, since I was asked, how my journey into internet governance has been. If I look at my journey in internet governance, it actually started in 2008, just before IGF, the Internet Governance Forum, was held in Hyderabad in India. A few of us took the Diplo Foundation course on internet governance, and that is what was the introduction to, at least me, about internet governance, though various aspects were known, but in a more coherent way. That was the starting point. And obviously, my first international conference at that point was the IGF in Hyderabad, which was in India. So it gave me an opportunity to hear different things being discussed, meet many people people because and get to know perspectives. And after that, obviously, I did the other Diplo courses, etc. And then if I look at landmarks, I applied for the fellowship in which was in 2011 for ICANN 41, which was in Singapore. And obviously, when I went there, that was my first step into ICANN, I would say, and to get engaged and to meet the other people there. Subsequently, I went for the other fellowship. After that, I did not go in for other fellowships, but yes, I was involved, like ICANN was going in through the INA transition. So, trying to get more perspectives from India as to, what should be an Indian perspective, etc., is something the researches, etc., I was working on. And after that, I was involved in the fellowship. I went for fellowship. I was a mentor. I was helping in other things, but I was trying to test where in ICANN I want to be, because I wasn't sure where I want to be. I was in ICANN floating around doing things, even making submissions, but I wasn't too sure where I want to go into. Simultaneously, at that point of time, I was involved in Internet Society, in the Delhi chapter, etc. And I was contributing. My motto has always been that I need to contribute and grow up the ladder, not the other way around. And obviously after that, I finally kind of, after speaking to many people, decided to kind of get into APrIGF as an ALS, just like Shreedeep did, CCAOI, which is an organization which I had also co-founded. We decided to become ALS, and that is when a formal kind of, I would say, into a structure was what happened. And obviously after that, started contributing and then growing through the ladders. And in the meantime, obviously, I was more involved in internet governance at the Internet Society level, also looking at other aspects, doing capacity building, etc. And obviously, at the Internet Governance Forum, I started to contribute in different ways as a volunteer, and then as Maureen said, pandemic-worthy years, which were there, where, like, for example, during the 2 pandemic years, I was in the nominating committee of ICANN, and all my meetings were online, and they are not Asia-Pacific friendly time. But again, that was an experience. I don't have anything to complain, but it was completely online. In fact, when I met people, even now, some of the nominating committee people I meet for the first time, I say, okay, I am so-and-so, because we always met online. So that happens. Even my first MAG year was online. The second year was more or less online. The others were offline. And during that point of time, I started getting involved in APrIGF. Just as a member, I had a fellowship in Bangkok, I think. But then I had been kind of getting engaged in it more and more. And so that's how I got into this entire kind of thing. And I will mix the questions, Sarai, because they are kind of interrelated. So yes, as Maureen mentioned, it takes a lot of time. Like if you're doing APrIGF, it is more early mornings. When you do ICANN, it is late evenings. When you do IGF, also it is late evenings. Though I'm not in the MAG at the IGF, I am I would say co-coordinator of working group of IG on strategy, as well as the policy network on AI. So those they take up some amount of time. But again, those are in the evenings. And sometimes ICANN timings, even with rotation, is not really good. If it's too late at night, I say, no, I can't do it. If it's like 2 a.m., 1 a.m., I can't do that. I can do at least till 11:30 my time or 12:30, unless and until it's like an earth-shattering meeting, as in that's some stop I put. But what helps me is at CCAOI, we work on public policy, tech policy issues, and digital issues. So quite some amount of work, though I work more on the Indian sphere, is complementary. And what I've seen is, if something is thrust on you and you don't like it, you crib about it. But if you have voluntarily taken it up, you don't have room for cribbing, right? Because you have opted for it. These are all volunteer work. So even if it's a late evening I'm spending, it is something. Then we obviously have we started the India School of Internet Governance. We just concluded our 9th edition. Barkha here has also been part of it from the Youth IGF initiative. So those are things which keep us busy. There is India IGF, which we started, and this would be our 3rd year. So there's a lot of things, but they complement. At times it may be exhausting, but only thing is, if you've opted for it and you feel you are passionate about it, you can do it. It requires a lot of stretch, I would say, and it is a volunteer work. So as Shreedeep mentioned, passion is something, or at least an interest, which will kind of drive you for doing things. So I think that's important. Whatever random thoughts are coming into my mind, I'm sharing. But if anytime later you want to kind of ask, you could do. For young people, I think what I feel is important is if you're new to the space, try to look at all the spaces and try to see what interests you and contribute there. And as Shreedeep mentioned, I think you need to understand the landscape first. Who is there, what is happening, what is being discussed, because the learning curve is really high. People are, over the years, people have been there in 20 years, 30 years doing something. And when you come in, you may have great ideas, but try to understand what is going on. Have some patience, and this word patience, I've learned it from Ahita, who's also been a fellow, and she's one of the Youth IGF persons. It's fresh in my mind because she was speaking about it day before. I think patience is something you need to have, and try to get into the mailing list, understand what's happening, or even in the calls, understand, and once you've understood the landscape, start contributing, because many times you may come with a different perspective, which may be right, but in that context may be incorrect. So understand the perspective and then place your point of view. I think it would be appreciated more. That's something which I have learned. And I would say be involved, even if you find it frustrating at times. If you really want to be if you're involved, it would help you. And ask questions, and this community is pretty open. At least Asia Pacific is pretty open. You can reach out to anyone with your questions, comments, and they will guide you to people. And another thing which what helps in your professional career, I would say, is many a times, since these meetings are both online, as you can meet in person or even go hybrid, you get to know a lot of people. You get to know about many other opportunities, which you perhaps may not have known. And through those opportunities, get into other courses or get into other programs or fellowships or things of your interest. So these are also good networking grounds. For example, I'll share an example. A few years ago, there was this new IP proposal being discussed at ITU. So we had got a query from the Department of Telecom here to give submissions. So to understand it better, I reached out to people at the Internet Society in different parts who had been working on it, trying to understand it more, and even APrIGF to understand more on what the perspectives are, what the concerns are, so that we could make our submissions in a more nuanced way and submit it. So those are the, it may not directly help you get a job, but it may help you to learn more. It may help you to, for example, even how to converse with people from different communities, respecting their culture. That's a big learning also, how you speak, how you interact. It's been a learning for me to, getting to know different cultures. Also, learning the different perspectives. The mailing lists gave you more insights on what is happening, etc. So it may not directly help, but it also helps you build yourself, get you hopefully a bit more maturity and knowledge on certain things which you were not exposed to. I think I'll stop at here. I don't want to talk too much. I would be happy to take questions, but these are the thoughts which came to my mind at this point. Thanks, Sarai. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Very appreciated, Amrita, with your sharing this evening. And yes, your impact on this journey in the internet governance, it requires, and you already mentioned, the commitment, understanding the landscape, understand the complexities of the internet ecosystem, and that dedication of you guys have been fostering this governance framework. So thank you very much for sharing your insights. So now I hand over to Phyo for the Q&A. If there are any questions sending by our participants. Over to you, Phyo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarai, all speaker. Thank you. I noticed your raised hand, but before moving to the Q&A question, can we take the quick selfie? Not selfie, so, quick picture. So if you are okay, please feel free to turn on your camera. If you're not, that's fine. Yeah, I will count like 1, 2, 3, 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it seems like yeah, we are now okay, right? So let me take the picture and let me count like 1, 2, 3. Shreedeep, where you? Okay, let me count 1, 2, 3, and let me take the screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what? Okay. Something wrong with my laptop. Sorry. Okay, got it. Thank you, everyone. And let's move to the Q&A question. And I noticed the bear, you raised your hand, so I will pass the floor to the bear first.
Thank you, Phyo, and thank you to our experts here today. I find it unfortunate that we don't have a big crowd today to hear the journey that you've all experienced, but I do feel lucky being one of the few to actually get a glimpse of your journey. I think it's a quality over quantity, right? And I do appreciate these kinds of sessions more because I don't feel too pressured to actually ask my question. But I guess I will share a little bit my 2 cents. And I think entering the IG space has never been, never needed to follow a certain flow. There's no, oh, you have to join this forum first, or you have to join ISOC first. It really is a personalized journey, what fits for yourself, right? And a lot of this is really self-taught. Although it's amazing to have mentors, on your side along the way, people like Maureen, Shreedeep, and Amrita, even Sarai, or to encourage people, into this space. Our Iris has been answering my questions since day one. And, I hope to achieve the things that you have one day. And, I'm 24 and I've been doing my best. I hope I've been doing my best in the IG space at 17. And I hope I don't lose this passion for a better internet, as you all have not lost that passion. I hope, you guys are here talking to us, right? But I think we've all seen that it has been hard to sustain youth engagement. And I remember what Maureen said, having no reward or recognition, if you join ICANN, don't expect a reward or recognition. But, she still pushes through on helping out, right? But nevertheless, Maureen, we've seen and recognized your work. Same with Shreedeep and Amrita. And I think what makes this space so powerful is the continued support and inspiration from experts like all of you. You remind us youth that passion and dedication and community are at the heart of this work, right? It's not about having a clear path laid out for you, but about forging your own and learning from those who came before us. And, as someone who's been in the IG space since I was 17, I sometimes wonder, how can we keep that passion alive in these phases of challenges, right? What advice would you give to those who are here now to not lose our passion, to manage, burnout or periods of low motivation, making the internet a better space? I think that's my question and my 2 cents as well.
Thank you, Brad. And anyone would like to respond to the book? Yeah, Amrita.
Yeah, so there are 2 things here. There is, if you are going into something expecting a reward, That's not going to happen. Okay. If you know that you are doing something because you're passionate about it, despite ups and downs, you are going in with a clear picture that, look, I'm not getting a job. I'm not getting money. I may not even, and travel is not a reward. I would say that. Two is, if you are not speaking, the regulations, etc., and I'm talking about internet governance in a broader landscape. I'm just not talking about ICANN, ISOC. I'm talking about other things. I'm talking about even AI governance, which is coming, digital policy. You're talking about data privacy or anything which comes in, because this is all digital these days. So if you are not speaking, someone else will speak on your behalf and make the regulations. So what is better? For example, many times you will see rules are made for young people, or rules are made for even women without having a woman in the room or even a younger person. Is that better? Is the question you have to ask. Similarly, till now, all the internet governance rules have been made by Global West, but more users, the maximum users are in Asia. So your interests, your use of internet access, I would say adoption, language is completely different from Global West. Should they decide for you, or should we decide? So that is why even sitting late at night or early in the morning, which Maureen has been doing, or any of us do, is not because we enjoy it. It is because else someone on your behalf would make the decisions. Are you okay with it? That's the simple question. Because we will live our life and we will go in a few years, but you will have to bear the brunt of it. So that's something you may want to consider. Not the best answer, but this is some logic you could consider.
Thank you, Amrita. It also makes sense to us. At least we should, give our time for shaping the internet policy, regardless of the other reward or regardless of other things.
So select what you want to be interested. If you do not have time because you have to make your career, etc., go limited, don't go wide. And then you can jump through. As you said, one leads to the other. You don't even know where you would be going.
I know. Thank you, Amrita. I noticed Shreedeep and Maureen also raised their hands. So I will pass the floor to the Shreedeep first and then Maureen. Shreedeep.
Yeah. So, the first thing is being honest is very important to yourself, because it is more about, voicing the issues. You are coming to the meetings. You are not getting prepared. You are just coming there to know people. I think that is unfair. You come prepared, you have the schedules, you kind of like raise the right question. You are on the focus. You are on the spotlight. So I think it's about being smarter and trying to engage. As I said earlier, if you engage, that is your opportunity. If I'm there in the ICANN fellowship, selection process, I would select a person who's engaged, not a person who's not engaged. So your engagement matters. And I think the level of engagement that you want to do is something that you have to work on. And you have to align with the people that are there. You want to see what are the problems, because you are a youth, you are voicing. That means you know the issues, right? So it is like something like, as I said earlier, we just complain. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. Start working. You know the issues. Even me, Amrita, Maureen, we don't know the issues from your place. So bring that to the table. Come prepared. Give us the thing. There is opportunity. If there is no opportunity, also create your own opportunity, my dear people. It is very simple. We just keep on complaining always. Even me, I complained a lot. And then I realized that I was on the wrong track. That is the reason why every time, whenever my fellows come in, I ask them, go back, do this, come prepared. The schedule is there. Why is the schedule available in ICANN? It is available there for you to come prepared. You coming to an ICANN meeting without preparation, just trying to listen, makes this 10% impact. You coming to the ICANN meeting, coming prepared with your country's issues and speaking it, making it rational, makes a huge difference. People will spot you. People will come to you and ask you to join Railways. People will come to you and say there is an opportunity. So I think it's about understanding your capacity. It's about understanding who you are and how you want to take it about, right? Because with this world, today there is a lot of opportunity, and you have to create that by yourself. If you don't do the effort, I need to say, you will go to a few meetings, people will know you, the community is very small, we will know, and it is like, okay, if the person is engaging, yeah, okay, this person is engaging, we can see it, because due to social media communication, there is so much, and we need people. The reality is we don't have people. Even in APrIGF, we need young people to do the outreach. We need young people to get involved in the policy. We need young people to do the things. People like Maureen are there to guide us, right? People are Amrita. We all are there. Even I'm there. But you have to find your own forte. You cannot be stuck saying, I want to be a leader. But where is your capacity? What do you want to do? What is your, capacity? That is where you make a difference. That's how you create a community. When you believe it's my community, it is my work, I will represent the values, things change, even for me, I've done that. I've realized I've been into their shoes. So I would suggest everyone to, work on themselves, the opportunities that are there, you can see those opportunities and align themselves to those goals. Those fellowship goals have certain expectations. So you have to align yourself within that. And once you align to that, there is an endless opportunity because there is a recognition. There is a recognition. It is not just, we say it is voluntary, but I have formally put it into my CV that I've chaired some group. I've worked with the social media. I was a, vice chair of the social media working group of APrIGF. You can show it there as well, right? Because there is a process to it, and you have to step. So my suggestion would be just, understand, be loyal, start working on your engagements.
Thank you, Shreedeep. And now it's time for Maureen.
Yeah, try not to be too long. One of the things that we try to do is to encourage people we encourage people from all walks of life to come along to ICANN, to bring their voices, because ICANN is just a series of meetings making decisions about domain names and the domain name system. And if you bring your voice, you can contribute to those decisions that ICANN is actually making. And it's appreciated that everyone comes with different perspectives and things like that, and that adds to the quality of the decision that's actually made. Volunteering is a personal issue, okay? And as I mentioned before, people volunteer because they want to make a difference. And I think that this is, the whole point is that, people don't, they don't expect to be paid or thing. And of course, ICANN as a not-for-profit cannot pay people with money. That's why they offer, travel, that kind of things, but they do not exchange money. So, you can't expect that. But at the same time, people volunteer because they want to make a difference, and it's personal satisfaction. So, I think that is it. And you can only, and as I said, you can only do what you can do. And some people come, they put their input into a particular issue, and then you never see them again because they've had their say. They're happy with that. And I think that this is the sort of thing, people need to look at it from the perspective of you do what is important for you. And it can be an ICANN, it can be an ISOC, it can be an APrIGF, it can be anywhere. But I think it's really good that you do involve you become involved, because there's so much learning about people. I've just been so privileged, I think, with the number of people that I've made contact with in those organisations that I've been part of, and that for me, that motivates me to remain with those organisations as long as I can and to do what I can. But really, it's just a personal thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. I hope you got a lot of insight from the three speakers already. So thank you for asking the question, and thank you all speakers for responding to asking. So right now, I think we have already passed like the 10 minutes. So we will only accept one more question from the participant, and then we are going to end this session. So one more question from anyone else. Okay, if not, I'm going to ask though. I have a question. So I think that all of we are also sometimes we are also our passion are also attached with our career and the professional job, right? So sometimes it might be there might be have like a conflict or interest. Especially we are wearing a lot of the hat, like ISOC, ICANN, and other kinds of the other kinds. We are, I mean, like we have a lot of responsibility to take care for not only for the job, but also for the volunteer projects and the activity that we are coordinating based on our passion, right? So I just would like to ask, is there any advice to those young people who are always having the conflict with different kinds of hub, whatever they go, and how they should navigate and how they should keep the mindset for the certain activity, for example, like getting involved and shaping the policy, or maybe other kinds of the activity related to the internet community. So I hope my question is clear or not clear. Amrita, how to manage our career job responsibility and the volunteer responsibility, especially how to behave and balancing among these two things. Yeah. Okay, let me crack this way.
Shreedeep has his hand up, Phyo.
Who is? Oh, Shreedeep, yes.
Okay. So the question that you are saying is how to manage, right, within your professional life and volunteering thing. So I believe that, as I said earlier, you have to be very clear. Because if you are passionate and if you want to participate and if you are willing to learn, I think this community is for you. But as Maureen said, volunteering demands that you come and you engage. You are trying to change something in your community, in your country, in everywhere possible, right? And you come to these forums, you just do not engage. You kind of like are. I think that is where the problem is, right? A lot of us, we don't understand the values of these communities or organizations. That these money invested in us is for getting back the things, the getting back the contribution. It is for contribution. They want us to empower, go back to our community, and then get back to the community as well. And managing is like, I mean to say, reality is, you are not busy for your interest or managing. If you have a meeting, professional meeting, and if you want to attend a meeting, then you could send an email to the staff saying, these are my points, and could you read it out? They will read it out. You could hear the meeting and send the reply as well. So there are loads of options how you can engage. What it is about you having the clarity about what you want to do. The community is very comfortable, let me tell you. The community is very comfortable. Ask Amrita, ask Maureen. It is very comfortable. If you want to contribute, we will accept you like anything else because we don't have people to contribute, right? But the main thing is that people just come, join. They are very limited in contributions and they don't come prepared. That is the reason why I try to focus more on preparation. You volunteer, that means you want to change something in your country. You want to contribute something to this community. And this is the thing that you have to understand, that these fellowships or these opportunities or these platforms are there for you to contribute. And it will make an impact if you contribute. If you do not contribute, I mean, if you say I'm busy, contribution can be with with emails. Contribution can be with attending the meetings online. Contribution can be with a lot of things to assist in. Contribution can be with managing the social media. Contribution can be with facilitating your organization. Contribution is limitless. You have to be clear about where and what you want to do and how you can contribute to the community. I hope that helped you.
Yeah, Shreedeep, let me clear a bit about my question. And the main question is about how we can make sure shouldering responsibility as an employees and also as a volunteer in this community, because like sometimes we have a conflict because we are doing the similar thing for the volunteer activities and the volunteerism and also for the war. So that is what I'm asking to the speaker, how to make sure and ensure, because as an employee from the employing side, like we cannot. It's not good for lacking the responsibility, right? Focusing on the most of the time on the volunteer activities. On one side, for the volunteer work, it's not good to. I'm not sure, but I'm seeking for the advice and your opinions on how to make sure the responsibility in both sides.
Thanks, Phyo. I'll just take this. What I understand is, what if there is a conflict of interest, right? That's the question. So if there is a conflict of interest, at that point of time, you should be very clear and say there is a conflict and I'm stepping back. For example, at APrIGF, there is a program committee. Which actually looks at how the program is, the call for proposal, etc. happens. For example, if your organization or you have a proposal, you could always say, I have a conflict of interest in this session. So what happens is you are made to step back for that while evaluating. Similar thing happens in the fellowship committee. Like, for example, you are doing something at ICANN, which is ideally, ICANN, ISOC doesn't have direct conflict of interest. It's very rare. But if such a situation comes that you have to choose one of the interests and both the interests are diverse, you choose and, for whatever it is, you step back from that discussion. You say, there is a conflict. I want to make it clear. And this is my position. It may be differing. That's there, because the most important thing is here, you don't have monetary transactions. That creates bigger interest. But if there are differences in views, you can always have a differing view. And you can, if you have a conflict at that particular thing, you can step back, clearly saying that I have a conflict. I think if I've understood your question and you're asking that.
Thank you, Amrita. I did know that when I got the fellowship at the ICANN, they wanted me to submit like conflicts of interest form or something like that for mentioning what
Yes, so normally they ask when we also fill up forms, there is a conflict. Like, for example, since it's a not-for-profit, etc., they would not want. So there are professionals who make positions. Like if you look at GNSO, etc., there are companies who are involved as registrars or registries who place their position. They have, for example, not meaning anything, say GoDaddy has their people in the GNSO who come and place their position itself. They are paid by, they are employees of that company. Whereas so many times companies also try to place their people even in a not-for-profit or civil society manner. So we need, when we get into anything, every one of us have to sign a no conflict that, look, I'm not being paid to place my views anywhere, because there are people who get paid for many kind of things. And so you need to clarify that we may have our group's interest in mind, but we are not paid to do that. We don't have a conflict wherein we are taking money from someone to do something. So those are the conflict of interests which we may have to sign up for, if that's your question. But I don't think there's anything. Perhaps Maureen can add more.
Thank you, Amrita.
Yeah, well, I just actually probably just adding on to what Amrita said. I think that as you mentioned, within the CCNSO and the GNSO, there are companies that actually pay their staff to come to ICANN and impress their ICANN's the policy development programs that they're actually sort of like running, push their perspective and what's going to give them the most money. It's very much money related at that level. With at large, however, there are people are volunteers. People are volunteers. No, most of the people at large do not have anything to do with the domain name industry at all, and even the internet. I mean, most of my stuff that I do is sort of like environment or construction work or whatever project is actually happening at the time. And I think that if there's ever a conflict between, sort of what the work that you're doing at ICANN and your job, I mean, let's face it, the job's going to be most important. In these economic times, people cannot afford to sort of like spend too much time on volunteer work, which is one of the reasons why, especially during COVID, we lost so many people. So really you have to make a decision. And sometimes, that's what I was saying about, if you can make the time and that the meeting times are at a time that's actually sort of like compatible with your working time, that is ideal. Very often that's not going to happen. So then you have to make a decision. You can't, most people cannot give up their jobs. The volunteer things is what's going to lose out, unfortunately. Thanks.
Thank you, Maureen and Amrita. What you mentioned about the volunteer, and I think even in the generation that I'm start this journey in 2020, and I realized that only few people left in this industry and in this community, because as a young people, most of the people have to choose the other path for their deployments, and without, I didn't mean like that, at least they have to fulfill the basic need for themselves to keep working or contributing in this industry. So, but the passion is what Ben mentioned, like the passion is very important for us to keep engaging and getting involved in shaping the internet in our community. For example, like what I didn't know about the internet governance, but I was passionate for shaping the internet policy because of my country's situation. I have been suffering like internet curfew, internet shutdown frequently. That made me feel like we have to do something for the internet, and we should not allow the internet to control by the certain stakeholder or kind of like that. So thank you very much, Maureen, Amrita, and Shreedeep for this session. And I feel like I consume lots of time for one question, but thank you very much for answering a very useful answer, and to think about and to consider back to even, and also to reflect to myself. And thank you very much once again to our participants, speaker, our team member. Barkha, are you here? Sarai, and thank you everyone for joining us, and hopefully everyone have like a kind of like the something useful, some tips for keep moving forward in our journey. So thank you everyone. Barkha, do you want to say something as the last one? I didn't know no, okay. Thank you. Yeah, we couldn't make it closing remark by each of the speaker because I consume a lot of the speaker time, so apology for that, and hopefully we can meet in another session for another kinds of interesting topic to discuss through this virtual session series. Thank you everyone, and bye for now, and have a great rest of the day. Bye everyone.
Thanks and bye.